Versatile Mage. Chapter 171. Choose any magic tool. In the early morning, Dean Xiao had already brought the good news to Mo Fan, and asked Mo Fan to follow him to redeem his rewards. When they got to the library that had the appearance of a huge book, Mo Fan was brought to the top floor, where access was not permitted to any other students of the institution. As they reached the top floor, Dean Xiao stood with his hands at his back and looked at the Pearl Institution's surroundings through the windows. Dean Xiao. When Mo Fan entered the meeting room, Mo Fan saw Dean Xiao standing alone. From the lonely yet slightly heavy atmosphere of the meeting room, Mo Fan could tell that Dean Xiao was worrying about some other matters. Dean Xiao turned around, a gentle smile on his face. I knew that you were hiding some other hidden trump cards during the examination. Though I do not know how you evaded Mu Nujiao's skill, but I sensed some dark magic, said Dean Xiao with a smile. That is not really a secret. If Dean Xiao investigated my background in Bo City, then you have all the answers you need, replied Mo Fan casually. Back then, it was Principal Zhu's idea to announce Mo Fan was an innate dual element at the high school exam. However, when the catastrophe struck Bo City, no one had the luxury to pay attention to this matter anymore, especially when Principal Zhu died. But if Dean Xiao really wanted to dwell on this matter, all he had to do was to send some people to ask those people who used to reside in Bo City, and he would have all the answers he needed. There is no need for that. One day, you will reveal your secrets all by yourself. Now, let's get to the main point, shall we? Said Dean Xiao. Of course, replied Mo Fan as he rubbed his hands together. Tusk, the resources for all new students. Just imagine how much these resources worth. Perhaps he could buy a luxury bungalow in Shanghai already. These resources were to be given to different students from different elements, and we have to change them into resources you could use. Thus, what we did was changed some of the resources that you would not be able to use into something that could benefit you, explained Dean Xiao. Mo Fan understood the reason behind this action, nodded and said, as long as I get the resources promised to me in full. If the resources had not been converted into something Mo Fan could use, they would just be useless rubbish to him. Hence, just like what Dean Xiao said, they could only estimate the total amount of the resources and how much they were worth before they convert these resources to something Mo Fan could use. I know that you have barely any good magic equipment with you, so here are a few higher class pieces of magic equipment suitable for the battles of intermediate level mages. You may only pick one of them, Dean Xiao said, as he waved his sleeves and a few small-sized magic items appeared on the table, lying there quietly waiting for Mo Fan to pick one of them. Intermediate level magic equipment. They must be quite expensive, he blurted out excitedly. The value of these magic items solely depend on the ones using them. But if you were to put them on sale, each and every one of these magic items here are worth at least this amount, explained Dean Xiao as he raised his hand, palm out. 50,000, asked Mo Fan. His answer was quickly rejected by Dean Xiao with a shake of his head. 500,000, asked Mo Fan, amazed. Our institution spends quite a great deal on the students' resources every year. Part of these resources are donated by the outstanding students of our schools that have graduated, some are funded by our institutions. However, we will only give you the public resources, funded by the institution, Dean Xiao explained. Nodding again, Mo Fan agreed, understanding that the resources donated by the outstanding graduates of the Pearl Institution were part of the reward and punishment given to those juniors that did not take part in the competition. Now, pick one of these magic items and you will receive the promised resources later on, Dean Xiao directed him. There were already tiny stars blinking in Mo Fan's eyes. Damn, with a piece of intermediate level magic equipment worth $500,000 and the other rewards, if I knew that there was so much included, I would have went all in to defeat Mu Nujiao, even if I had to expose my fire element. Would you mind explaining to me what can these items do? I know nothing much about magic equipment, These were something luxurious that could only be toyed around with by those rich people, not poor ones like me, Mo Fan asked eagerly. Certainly. This one close to your hand is the blood tabby. It is made with the bloody bones of the blood beast in the Long Plain Mountains. Once equipped, the mage will be bestowed with the extreme sprinting capabilities of the blood beasts, which is even greater than the wind path, drifting shadows. Other than that, each time this tabby is charged with the essence of a blood beast, the tabby will be able to unleash power strong enough to crush a mountain, explained Dean Seo as he gave off a feeling of a professional in this field. Offensive ability. Nice, said Mo Fan. Mo Fan then recalled the fight he had with Yu Ang. He had used magic shoes. If Mo Fan was not wrong, he still remembered that Yu Ang's magic shoes only allowed Yu Ang to execute an evasive move once, which was nowhere close to the level of the blood tabby. How about that? It looks like armor, asked Mo Fan, as he pointed at the item in the center. Yes, that is magic armor. The largest difference between the armor and shield magic equipment is that the shield's defense is dead. A magic shield needs the mage to activate the shield so that it can help the mage to fend off an attack, which is way different from the magic armor. The magic armor is strong to the point where the mage can just wear it and it does not require the attention of the mage to activate it for its defense. It may not be able to fend off attacks completely like the magic shields, but indirectly, it can greatly increase our durability. At every levels, the bodies of mages are weak, making magic armor one of the life-saving insurances for them. This magic armor is called the Jade Scale Mail. It is known for its flexibility, so that even when wind element mages wear it, their mobility will not be affected by it at all. At the same time, this amplifies its flaws greatly. This mail possesses a weaker defense than the other magic armors, making it hard to take a very strong impact or destructive power head-on, explained Dean Seo. You are saying this type of magic armor must be one of the worst choices among the other magic equipment? Asked Mo Fan. Precisely. Magic armor is always expensive. They're only slightly cheaper than the Stardust magic tools. This Jade Scale Mail will only be able to sustain attacks from the minion class monsters, but when it comes to the attacks delivered by warrior class monsters or any intermediate tier magic, it will at most prevent the mage wearing it from dying, replied Dean Seo. Magic armor might be a very good thing to use since it could be worn by mages throughout an entire battle. But when it came to Mo Fan, their inferior defensive capability would be less useful. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.